Hello, welcome to this Yoga and Pilates fusion class. Today we're going to start off either from a seated position or a kneeling position, just whatever feels most comfortable for you really. And let's just take a few moments here just to close down the eyes. Put a little bit of tension to the stomach muscles, hold a bit of posture, and then bring a bit of awareness to the mat. A little bit of focus into today's session. While we're here, we're just going to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Just feel the air coming in, filling the body, and then just slowly releasing. I want you to continue to keep bringing everything back to your breath as we move through this class. It is yoga and it is Pilates, so the breathing is slightly different from one to the other, but I want you just to find the breath that feels right for you. So whether that's in through the nose and out through the nose, or in through the nose and out through the mouth, it's just whatever feels right for you at the specific time. You might find some of the harder exercises and poses we need to breathe out through the mouth. You might find the more relaxing parts, it's through the nose. Just go with what feels good for you. So let's take a couple of really good deep breaths in now and sigh them out. Good. Okay, so let's start a little bit of movement to our bodies now. We're going to come round to all fours, to our tabletop position, so hands under the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And then we're just going to take a very gentle rock of these hips forwards. Just lengthen through the spine, look forwards of your mat. And then we reverse that. We tuck the tailbone under, chin into the chest, push your hands into the floor to create this arch of the back. I just want you to move slowly between these two positions. Taking a nice deep breath in as we arch the back, and exhale as we lengthen through that spine. Let's just slowly move from position to position, just create a little bit of mobility and warmth into these back muscles as we do this. And we're going to do one more of those to each side. And then once we've done those, we find the halfway point between the two, giving us the length in our spine. I want you then to keep the left hand down on the floor, lift this right hand and left knee. We're going to send that arm and leg out long, push the heel away, find some balance here as we just start to feel a bit of heat building through the lower back, glutes, and also through the shoulders. Holding a little bit of tension into the core. Let's see if we can hold this complete still position for one more breath. And then bring the hand and knee down. Just transfer the weight across and do the same to the side. So left arm lifts, right leg lifts, and find this balance point once more. And we breathe and we hold it here. One more breath. And then bringing this hand and knee down, we're just going to open the knees up, big toes touch. Let's just sit our weight back into our child's pose here. Slide the hands out in front, rest the head down, and just little wiggles that feel good for you just to release any tension from those back muscles. Do that now. And of course, let's breathe. Let's continue to take these deep breaths in. And slowly we bring this back to our tabletop position. But this time what we're going to do with your right hand is just turn the fingers in towards your left hand. And then with the right foot can just go slightly off the mat. And let's just find a little bit of rotation through the body. So this top leg, this left leg straightens, and we bring this Left arm up into the air, into this side plank position, holding it here. And then let's bring this hand through the gap between the knee and the hand, slight bend of that right arm, and then let's open up again. Pausing for a breath. We do that one more time, slowly lowering in and then opening up through the body. Lovely stretch through the torso there. Now this time we're going to keep the hand here and we're going to lift this top leg away from the floor if we can. We just lift to the point where we find a little bit of resistance into the glutes, and we pause, and again, can we find this stillness in our bodies as we breathe? Taking one more breath here. We're then going to lower that foot to the floor. Left hand comes down. Let's just find that central position again, fingers pointing forwards. And now we're going to stride through with the left foot close to the left hand. And then we're going to lift slowly up. And then if you need to adjust this left foot a little more, take it forward a touch, you can do. We're sinking in, bringing the hands above the head into this nice low lunge position. I want you then to bring your right hand to this left knee and take that left hand behind and just look towards that backhand, opening up through the body. Find a little bit of resistance around this oblique area, around these rib cages. Taking a good deep breath, and then let's bring those hands up above their head once more. We're then bringing the chest down towards the thigh, hands come down to the floor. Let's even slide that foot back with some control and find this tabletop position again. Okay, so we're now going to turn the left hand in towards the right. This left foot can come slightly off the mat. Turn our bodies, right leg goes straight, and again we lift up here, we open up to the top. Pausing for moments. In breath as we bring this hands through the gap, not touching the floor. Out breath as we open this body up. Let's do it again there. In breath down. Opening up. One final time. Open up, holding this position for me now. And now we lift this right foot, right leg if we can, and pause here. Find some stillness, find that balance point. One more breath. And then we bring the hand down, we bring that knee on, we just centralize everything there. And again, let's just sit back into our child's pose position. Lifting the bum now, tucking the toes underneath. Let's just walk the knees a little bit narrower. Sit back over our heels, grip into the fingertips, and then lift those hips up towards the sky. And let's find the downward facing dog. Having a little pedal of these legs if you wish. Just feeling a nice little release of tension through the hamstrings as we bend those legs. And then breathing, keeping this spine long. And then, still on those legs, let's find a little more height through those hips if we can. Head hangs nice and heavy. And then we're going to walk these hands slowly towards the feet. And then from here, we just find this forward fold position. Slight bend on the legs, hips nice and high. Chin to the chest, head towards those knees. And we pause here. Maybe just taking those hands to the left if that feels good for you. Then over to the centre and over to the right. And then back through to centre. Sliding the hands up the shins now. Let's find this half fold, this length through the spine. So hands are just resting at the bottom of the kneecap. Find length in the spine so make sure we're not rounded through the shoulder blades are pulled back. We're looking to the top end of the mat. And then we slowly float back down We find this little bit more of a stretch into the hamstrings as we lift those hips high, almost straighten the legs, not completely though. And then just take a little bend to the legs here. Weight into your hands now as we heel toe these feet wide. So our toes are slightly pointing off the mat. The feet are about mat width apart. We're going to bring the hands into prayer, into heart center, and then stand up slowly. And then from here, I want you to hinge the hips and sit back into this yogic squat as deep as you can go. If you can sit deep like I am here, that's great. If not, just go a little higher into a squat. Pausing, trying to keep these heels down. We're opening these knees up. If it helps, just use those elbows just to gently push the knees a little bit wider. Find that little bit of posture. Pausing, taking one more breath. And then bringing the hands to the floor. Push your hands into the floor, lift those hips. And then again, just walking those feet a little closer together. We're now going to, on our out breath, take these arms wide, stand tall, hands above your head to our mountain pose, looking up between those hands. Connect those toes to the mat, just a gentle push of the hips forwards and looking up between those hands. And taking a really good deep breath. We're then going to, on our out breath, take those arms wide. We fold back down, but this time hands to the floor. Let's just walk these hands out and find a plank position. Push the heels away. Shoulder blades squeeze back there. Option to go to the knees if you need to and do a 3/4 plank if you can. See if we can hold it here for me. And if you need to, knees down, elbows pull in together, and we float the chest down between the hands, just flattening off those feet. I want you just to lift the hands off the mat now, so we're not pushing into our arms, and just see if we can lift the upper chest away. So it's not going to be a big lift here, but it is all about those back muscles. And then hands come down. We took those toes underneath, lift the hips, push back, find our downward facing dog. Nice and gentle bend on those legs, maybe a little pedal out again. Okay, so this time I want you to take a couple of big steps in underneath the chest with those feet, and we find the forward fold at the top end of the mat. We hold it here. Nice deep breath in, and then out breath as we stand tall. Bring those hands up above the head again, pushing those hips forwards, finding a nice little stretch through the front of the body, and then bringing these arms just down by your side, just for a moment. We're then going to take a nice big stride back with your right foot. So right foot comes a long way back, and as you step it back, lift the heel, maybe just shuffle it back a little further so you feel like you've got a good distance between the front and the back foot. Let's just square these hips up here, and let's see if we can bring these hands up above the head, and a very little gentle sink into this high lunge. Shoulders pull back. We feel some heat building through those thighs. More breath here. We're lowering the chest down to the thighs. Both hands come to the floor just for a moment. Reset, maybe take that foot a little further back. Now if you need to here, we can rest the knee down, but if you can, keep it lifted. Right hand is going to stay on the mat, and we're going to open up through this left arm. And just find that bit of rotation here. Looking up towards that hand if you can, if not, just looking out to the side of you. Good deep breath. Keep pushing that back heel away so we're active through those leg muscles in that right side as well as the left. We're then going to bring the hand down, slide that foot back, find our plank, find that chaturanga, and this time keep the hands down, but see if we can still use those back muscles to find a baby cobra. And pause. Holding just for a moment, chest comes down, tuck the toes underneath, lift those hips, and push it all the way back to our downward facing dog. Have a little walk out, a little pedal out on those legs if you need to. That's good. And breathe. Again, we're going to have a little step forward now. If you remember which leg you stepped forward with first, do the other. If not, don't worry, just step forwards, and find forward fold at the top end of your mat. Arms go wide, bring it all the way up to the top. Nice deep breath. And then bring your arms down by your sides. This time I'm going to take the left foot back, big stride again. Find a good distance between the two, shuffle back a little, back heel lift, square these hips off to the front edge of your mat. Sweep the hands above the head, gentle little sink in here, and pause. And hold it here. Couple more breaths, feel that heat building through those thighs. And then lowering the chest gently down towards the thigh. Both hands come down. This time we're going to keep that left hand down. If you need to shuffle that left foot back a little bit, you can do. Right arm lifts and we open up. Option to go to the knee if you wish here. Just really opening up through that torso. One more breath and then bringing that hand down very gently, slide that foot back, find plank, knees down if you need to, chaturanga if you can, and then let's see this time if we can lift that a little bit higher, maybe up to a full cobra if that feels good for you. Shoulders back, hips heavy, chest proud. Taking a breath. And then we float slowly down there. We're going to stay down here just for a moment. Bring your hands down to the floor, so palms are facing down, just off the mat, hip sort of position there. And then let's pull the shoulders back. Let's engage into this core, lift the head, lift the chest. And if this feels comfortable and you want to add a little extra challenge, see if you can lift those legs, peel the thighs away, and pause here. Stomach muscles tight, gentle squeeze to those glutes, and option then to lift the hands. Find this locust position, almost as if you're flying here. We breathe 2 or 3 more good deep breaths. And then bring the legs and the hands down, keep that chest slightly lifted, hands under, tuck the toes under, push all the way back and find a downward facing dog. Good. Good. So from here, we either step those feet in, we take a little bend and then weight through the hands, and then we jump those feet underneath and then lift the hips. We're then going to just allow this chest to lift, slide the hands up the shins, start to sweep those arms up by your ears and sink back into our chair pose. And we hold here as we start to feel that heat building once more into these thighs. Make sure we're not too far forward here. We're pushing the bum back behind us. So if we're just perching on a stool, take 2 more breaths. And as we straighten, really push into that right leg. Right arm comes behind, left foot lifts. We bring the knees together and see if we can just lean forwards. Push that hand and foot together. Reach forwards, holding it here as we breathe. One more breath and then just release. Bring that foot gently in. Reset these arms, sink back. We find our chair pose once more. Connecting those toes to the mat. 2 more breaths here. We're going to do the same on the other side, that dancer's pose. So really pushing now into that left leg as we do that left arm forward, right hand comes behind, hand and foot come together, find balance, lean forward, chest over the toes, and hold here. Two more breaths if you can. And then gently we release, we bring that foot down, and then lift the hips, straighten the legs, hands to the floor, and then we're just going to step back, kneel down, And sink back into our child's pose. Great stuff. Taking some nice deep breaths there. We're looking good. Okay, so we're going to lift up here and then just bring your weight to one side. Scoot those legs all the way around now. Time to get into a little bit of Pilates work here. So we're straightening these legs, sitting in the middle of your mat, tucking those toes underneath and taking these arms over the legs. We then create a little C curve. We do that by bringing the chin into the chest, rocking the hips back, pulling the stomach muscles in and reaching forwards. And then just easing the way forwards. Finding a nice little stretch into the lower back and hamstrings here. And keeping this C curve on, so keep reaching forwards with the hands, keep the chin tucked into the chest. Allow that lower spine just to lower about halfway down to the mat. Keep the core anchored. And then slowly pull back up. And let's do a little double bounce there, a little 1, 2 bounce before we go again. So in breath as we come down. Out breath as we come back up and we forward fold. Keep it going. Can we go that little bit further down now? Making sure if we are going to choose that option of going a bit further down, that you can control it on the way back up. And if you can, we go all the way down and then return slowly back up. And if it didn't go quite so well, reduce your range of movement. Don't worry about it. Just continue to focus on the level that feels good for you. Let's see if we can do 2 more of these. So one final time, we're going to roll all the way down, or as far as you can go. Come back up into that nice forward fold position, feel the stretch, and then we're going to go down as slowly as we can now, really rolling this spine in, putting the brakes on, not allowing gravity to push you down into the mat. Control, if you need to, forearms can come to the floor to give you a little bit of support, and then really, really slowly rest the head down, hands above the head. A nice full body stretch there. Good. So you've got a little bit of room around you. We start our next exercise from this position. So just make sure there's no big gap underneath that lower back. With core engaged. Bringing these hands over the top. As we do that, we bring one knee in, reach forward, squeeze to the stomach muscles, roll all the way back out. Do the same to the other side. So exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Keep working at this level if you want to. If you want to make this harder, we can do that by coming up more into a seated position. Working harder to control the movement. Keep working here. Stomach muscles, glutes, pelvic floor muscles connected. Pilates style. Deep core engagement. And let's see if we can do a couple more of these to each leg. Remember, just work at the level that feels right for you at this moment. And then once you've done your final one, we're just going to take a moment in our full body stretch position. So lengthen out, nice big stretch, big deep breath. Side out. Good. Let's take these arms out nice and wide now. And then bending the leg, we're going to find neutral spine, so it's a natural curve through the lower back. Make sure there's no big gap, the hips aren't rocking forward. We have what we call our neutral spine. Making sure we're core tight, so stomach muscles, glutes, pelvic floor muscles all connected. We're lifting these legs into the air, 90 degrees at the knees and hips. If you can, if you are struggling this though, heels towards the bum or even feet to the floor if you are struggling a lot. And then from here, keep the shoulders down. As we start, a very small movement over from side to side. Out breath across, in breath to center. And then if this feels okay and you feel strong here, start to go a little bit further over. Start to challenge those core and waist muscles that little bit more. But keep control over those legs all the time. Remember, if you need to, heels to the bum or feet to the floor, but if you want to make this harder, as we bring these legs back to center, we lift the head, we reach forward, we squeeze into the stomach muscles, we reset, and then take it over to that other side. Out breath across, in breath to center, Out breath, lift. In breath, as we release and reset. Keep this going for me. Keep using your breath to regulate that pace of movement. And let's just do one more to each side if you can. Once we've done our final one there, let's hook these legs in. Take a moment, maybe a little side to side movement or even up and down if you prefer. And then just resting the head down if it was lifted. Let's just find neutral spine, stomach muscles still nice and tight here. We're just going to let one leg slip away from those arms and extend out. Both hands come to the other shin now, bringing that head towards the knee. We're then changing these legs over. In breath as one knee comes in, out breath as your other knee comes in. And go lower with these legs if you want to make this harder. Option to take the hands off the shins and place them lightly to the side of the knee. Hands can go to the side of the head as well if you wish. And the final option is this crisscross elbow to opposite knee. Really working hard into these oblique muscles if you're choosing this option, but if you start to struggle, go back to an easier level. We're almost there. 2 more extensions to each leg if we can. And then knees back in just for a moment. Working on to, we call a double leg stretch next. That was the single leg stretch. This time we're going to lift the upper body, the muscles tight, and just bring the hands just to the sides, just touching the ankle bones with the fingertips. We're going to stay lifted through the upper body. Extend those legs out and take the hands above the head. And then sweep your arms round and bring the knees back in. In breath as we extend, out breath as we bring it all back in. Make sure this lower back doesn't lift with the weight of the legs, so you can make this easier by taking the feet higher, or if you are struggling, one leg at a time. You want to make it harder, though, go lower. 3 or 4 more if you can. Really strong through those stomach muscles now, almost there. Once you've done your final one, feet can go to the floor there, legs straight, hands above the head, into a nice big full body stretch. Well deserved stretch on those stomach muscles, that's good. Great stuff. So we're just going to roll over onto your side now. A little bit of leg work to do, so we're going to just rest the head into the hand if that feels comfortable. If you prefer arm down, that's fine as well. Pull these feet back in line. We're going to lift this top leg. Make sure this top leg is really active. So we're going to lift that leg high into the air, feel some resistance into the glutes, and then float back down. So exhale, lift. Inhale, lower, almost all the way, not quite all the way down. Find a little bit of resistance into those glutes. Now I want you just to change the focus slightly now by flexing the ankle. So we're really pushing the heel away, pointing the toes forwards. And we do the same again. 4 or 5 of those. Core is still strong, glutes are still tight. Once you've done the final one of those, let's lengthen that ankle out. We're kicking the leg forward now, sweeping it up and over, slightly behind and round, creating a nice circular movement into this hip joint. And again, 4 or 5 of these to do. And once we've done that final one, we're going to bend that leg, rest that knee down to the mat. Take a moment, you can straighten that other arm. Nice deep breath. We then push both legs out straight. This time, probably best to have your lower arm straight, slightly forward of the body as well. Top hand can either be in front or onto your thigh. Pull these feet in line, point the toes to that wall, and then we lift both legs just a couple of inches into the air and lower back down. So exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. If you want to, hand to the thigh to create a little bit more intensity. Final option on this one, lifting the head, lifting the armpits, sliding the fingertips to the side of the knee, and then lowering back down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Keep going, give me 3 or 4 more of these. Whichever level you're at there, don't worry, just work to that level that feels right for you. And once we've done your final one there, we bend the legs, we pull both knees into the body, just releasing for a moment. Good, good. And then we're just pushing ourselves up. We're going to come back and do the other side of those in a moment. Before we do that, let's sit however you feel most comfortable with those legs. But I need to find a little bit of posture. If you need to just sit on a cushion or something, that's fine. Let's find a little bit of posture, shoulders back. Arms are coming out wide here if you can. If you struggle with shoulders, maybe just in front of you. And then we're going to find some rotation through this torso, just looking over the shoulders, that back hand, just pushing up to the resistance, back to centre and then around to the other side. So exhale as we move round, in breath as we come back there. Just trying to eke out a little bit more range of movement if we can. Keep those shoulder blades squeezed together. One more to each side. And then we come back to centre, chin into the chest, little C curve on the spine, just a little forward fold there. Taking a couple of nice breaths. And then sliding those hands back towards the ankles. We're going to the other end of the mat now, so making sure you've got the other leg on top. Lower arm bent, resting that head into that arm. Pulling those feet back in line, core is strong here. And then we're just going to lift this top leg into the air as high as feels comfortable on this side, and then lower down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Just challenging that range of movement, but not forcing it. And now let's have a little flex in this ankle. Same movement, just with that slight flex on the ankle now. So really pushing the heel away, pointing the toes out to the side of you. Just a couple more of those. And then we're going to lengthen that ankle back out, and now we kick forwards, we lift up, over the top and sweep round. 5 of these to do. Just a couple more, opening up those legs nice and wide now. And once you've done that final one, you can just bend that leg, rest the knee down, and just take a breather there. Good work. Great stuff. So it's time we just started to ease things down a little bit now. So I just want you to roll over onto your back for me. And just take a moment there. Moment just to breathe. And then with the feet and knees about hip width apart, we're taking these arms wide. I just want you to allow these legs just to gently fall over to your right side. Keep that left shoulder down. Look away from the stretch. And just pause in there for a moment as we breathe. A little tension through those stomach muscles as we bring legs to centre, and then we take them over to the other side, gently across, holding it there. And we breathe. Bringing the legs back to centre now. And I just want you to just find the middle of the mat, reset, a little tension in the stomach muscles. I want you to lift the right foot off the floor, but the left leg stays where it is. So we're going to take this right leg out as straight as you can, and then with the hands, just walk them up the calf towards the ankle. Just a little flex of the ankle, so you're pointing the toes behind you. Very gently, just bring that leg towards you. We're not forcing it, but we're finding a nice stretch into the hamstring of that right side. And then from there, a bend of that leg, hook that ankle onto the knee, just open up, either pushing away or bringing this hand through the gap and finding this glute stretch. Gently, we release there. We unhook that ankle, reset, and then we're doing the same to the side, lifting this left leg, straightening out, walking these hands up, flex those ankles, lift up, gently pulling this leg towards you to feel the stretch into the hamstring, and breathe. And then bending that ankle, hooking that ankle onto the knee. The option just to push the knee away or lift that right foot and find that glute stretch again. And again we breathe. And then gently we release. Unhook that ankle. And then just find a comfortable position to lie in. A position where you can just release the tension of the body. Just let it melt away into the mat. So we just take a couple of minutes to relax. Just allow your breath to be fairly shallow at this point. I still want you to be aware of it, and if it helps you to keep your mind calm, then just focus on that breath coming in and out. In with the new energy, out with its tension and the stress and the strain. Just take a few more breaths to relax. And a little wiggle of the fingers and the toes. Bend of those legs. And then we're just rolling over onto one side. Just taking a moment there, just making sure you feel okay. And then we're just slowly pushing ourselves up to seated. Take your time as you do that. Find a comfortable seat. Take a moment. Putting those hands together. Thank you everyone. Great work. Well done.